The evolution of the defensive line, since the very first practice till now. Can you kind of encapsulate how you feel like that progress has been made?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because that room is really diverse. You've got a handful of kids, about 5 or 6 kids that are seniors that have played a lot of football, really have, because all those downs, have a lot of football IQ. And then we've got a lot of young kids. There's not a lot of juniors and not a lot of sophomores. It's kind of a small middle group, big inexperienced group, and a group that's played a lot of football. And so it's been a kind of a balancing act in terms of how we feed them the information, because you want to make sure that you're challenging the older guys and continuing to see them develop and progress, but you don't want to lose the younger guys in the room. And so we've kind of watered down some of our calls when we've got some of those younger guys in the game, and we started to accelerate those older guys. And I think we're seeing some stuff right now in terms of the energy and the effort that they're playing with. I think they're understanding the basic schemes that we're putting in. I feel good about where we're at. I really do. I think we're blessed to have some depth there, which is really, really critical.
Now, I know Coach Peterson talked about how you guys have kind of put the players behind the 8 ball because you're new and you're trying. But how much did you maybe have to alter what you ideally wanted to do, or did you talked about watering down things? Do you still feel like you were able to get in, as much as you could, I guess?
Well, I don't think we got through, game plan type of things at all. But I think that they got a good understanding of really what we do is we try to give them man concepts, some fire zone concepts, our base concepts out of our 4 down, our base concepts out of our 3 down, and then everything kind of builds and spokes off of that. And so now we'll be able to go back and reference all the techniques are in, all that stuff that we're going to reference about. This is an arrow, this is a short, this is a spark. They'll be dialed in on that verbiage, and then we're just plugging those techniques into different calls. And so that's really kind of how the teaching progression works. And I think these guys have done a good job of latching onto that. And we've also tried to blend a lot of their old terminology that's similar in terms of the techniques to try to help accelerate that learning curve.
Some of the guys I talked to have already been kind of talking about how important these PRPs are going to be.
Absolutely.
What do you want to see out of those guys without obviously literally seeing them?
Yeah, I think we have to make sure that they understand, hey, these are the everyday drills that we want to work on. This is your focal point. When we do our meetings with them next week, we're going to give them 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the most things that we say. These are the critical things that you really need to focus on this summer. And if they can improve and master those through 2 to 3 skills, then we're going to have an opportunity to be pretty good. And so it's really about us directing them and saying, this is what you need to work on. This is how you're going to work on it now. Go do it.
And I talked specifically with Saul Wuchang, and he talked about being a rugby player at heart.
Yeah.
What are the benefits to having a guy like that maybe brings a little different mindset?
That guy plays hard now. I mean, he only knows one speed, and not just on the defensive side of the ball, but certainly for me on special teams, I think he has great value in that area. And he's a young man that is very raw. Played on the offensive side of the ball a year ago, coming back over to defense. And the one thing you're never going to question with him is effort. He's got a long way to go in terms of some of the technique things, but I think that I've seen progress on him. Really, after about the first 2.5 weeks, he kind of took off, and you could see him kind of starting to understand it. So I think he's a guy that's going to have to give some quality downs. We expect great things from him on special teams. We good?
Thanks, sir.